taken by this particular gentleman who Amrit spoke very glowingly about at the start of his speech. That was then used by him in the All India commentary, radio commentary, to suggest that the pitch was damp, etc., etc. I don't even know whether he had gone to the pitch to have a look whether the pitch was damp or not. It was the first day of a test match, and of course in those days, you have a little bit of grass on the surface, and those were the days when you didn't have a cook over a ball. The ball moved around a little bit. So that, and I'm saying to myself, this Amrit Mathur, I then found out he hadn't actually been anywhere in Australia at that stage. I said he's sitting in New Delhi, and he's writing this, and of course later on, you come to know that headlines are not in the hands of the person who writes a column, but it is the publisher or the editor who decides on the headline. So that was my first introduction to Amrit Mathur. It wasn't the most pleasant of introductions. I was waiting to catch up with him at some stage, but of course, I think what you would have noticed over your interaction with him is he's got a pretty disarming way about him, and so we hit it off, and we've been good friends ever since. When the invitation came, the invitation said for the release of the book, and I was actually relieved to read that word release, despite the fact that in his talk just now a little bit before me, he used the word launching the book. Now, the book has already been launched in New Delhi. There was another one in Bengaluru a week, 10 days ago. And thankfully, while he used the word launch, it was in the invitation that went to everybody, the word used was release. Because if he had used the word launch in that invitation card, I would have had to say that you had more launches than ISRO has had. So there was a book I remember Clive Lloyd releasing many years ago, which again, it was a launch, and that was about the 6th or the 7th launch in different cities, and actually that's where I actually am picking that up from, where he actually said, hello, you had more launches than in Cape Canaveral in USA. But you almost got there. Today it's the third launch, and I believe you're having a launch stroke release in Kolkata. But I think it'll be worth it because I think it makes sense to be able to go to different cities, to be able to get people to tell and to read about the experiences, because this is something which not everybody is fortunate to be able to be in the middle of the action, in the sense that you're there in the change room, you're seeing people react to situations, you're seeing people, some of the biggest names in the game, how they cope with pressure, how they release pressure. I know you probably, I don't know whether you mentioned about people coming back after getting a bad call and throwing their bats and kit around, etc. I don't know whether you mentioned that, but these kind of things happen, and if you've been able to be there, you understand the players a lot better, because players are, after all, human. They're like everybody else. They have their own, fears, worries, concerns, and to be able to actually see that, firsthand, to be able to sit with them maybe occasionally and not say a word, just be somebody who's just sitting there listening, taking the brunt and absorbing it, but not really, because sometimes people have to vent, people have to come out with their frustrations. To be able to do that in the change room must have been a fantastic experience. Not the most enjoyable of experiences, but surely an experience from which you would have understood the psyche of being an India cricketer. I don't think there is any other cricket team in the world which is under as much pressure, the pressure of expectations, like the Indian team. Because every match that the Indian team plays, the fans, the followers, not just in India, but the Indian cricket followers all over the world expect and want the Indian team to win. And we all know in sport that sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But the pressure can be telling. And I think that is the pressure that the Indian team is currently experiencing, with everybody wanting them to win the Asia Cup, wanting them to win the World Cup, which is going to take place in a couple of in a month and a bit. But I think this is where we, as cricket followers, need to show a little bit more understanding that there will be days that the team will not be able to play up to its potential, and let's keep our fingers crossed that if these days happen, they happen at the league stage and not at the knockout stage. And so, therefore, with the cumulative prayers of all of us, I think we will be able to will and pray for India to win not just the Asia Cup but also the World Cup. We did, I think, as a nation, as a nation that follows sport, we did win 24 hours back or 48 hours back for Neeraj Chopra to win. I think all of us, we stayed up just to be able to watch, and we were praying. We had our fingers crossed, we had our hearts in our mouth, hoping that and praying that he would win, and he did. So this is what I request all of you to convey to other Indian sports lovers, to please do that, so that our team can go on to win both the Asia Cup as well as the World Cup in a month and a half. Thank you, Amrit, for asking me to come and release the book. I thought actually, when you said it's going to be at the CCI, I thought, and the title of the book was, pitch side, that we might have to go to the middle of the pitch and release the book over there in the middle of the pitch. But I think this is a far more congenial, atmosphere here to be able to meet up with so many people. Also, of course, fortunately, the CCI doesn't have the kind of restrictions that the home of English cricket has, where nobody can go on the grass. You've got a picture in that keep off the grass kind of, you've got a picture in that thing, keep off the grass. So that doesn't happen. But that's because we love our cricket, we love our sport, and we're also fortunate to have people like Amrit who have been with Indian cricket. They've had a role to play with Indian cricket. I don't think, apart from Fateh Singh Rao Gaikwad, there's been a younger manager of the Indian team. It's easier to relate to somebody who you can be on first name terms with, because of there's not much of an age gap, and I think that is what Amrit brought to the managership of the Indian team. I'm sure the players would have been very happy to be able to come to you. Otherwise, there's always just a little bit of a distance that youngsters keep out of respect. Maybe not out of respect for of the senior players, but I think Amrit brought a different role to the Indian managership, and he's performed it absolutely brilliantly. So starting from a person who probably didn't know whether the pitch was wet or not in Sydney, to writing a book, pitch side. Oh, so it's a great. Wonderful turnaround. I want to congratulate you on the book. I want to wish you all the very best. I hope this is read by many people, because I think this is, certainly from whatever I've read so far, this is a book worth reading. One or two inaccuracies over there, but that is for later. Something to do about the number of shoes that I have. I read that is 100%, 100, 200, 1000% totally inaccurate. So don't believe everything that you read about me. But thank you all. I don't want to keep you away from getting hold of the book, and thank you all for coming here. Thanks so much, and Amrit, all the best.